So I'm going to show you what the window film looks like now. This is what we call a Silver 20, and we're going to apply this to our little dummy door so you can see what it looks like. This is the film itself. It's very, very thin, but it's also got a backing on it that's got to be peeled off, and that reveals the self-adhesive glue and adhesive that's on the back of this film. It's a bit confusing. You wouldn't necessarily know which side is the inside and outside right now, but when the backing comes off, it becomes obviously clear. So we're going to show you our little technique that we use. Our beautiful workshop assistant is going to show you how we just peel the backing off of the window film, and you just literally put the film in your mouth and give it a little bit of a nibble in your teeth, and then the backing peels off. Can you see that? Hopefully we can see that on the video. All right, and that, can you see how thin the backing is? And that reveals an adhesive sticky layer on the back, and that's the part that we're going to stick on the inside of the window, and we'll show you how to put that on now. So now we're ready to apply some diluted soapy water to the window film, and what we do is we're going to pull the backing off. We always think this is a two-person job, but we're going to, if somebody holds it for you, then you can pull the backing off and just spray the film as you pull the backing off. I don't know if you can see that all the way down, but we get that nice and wet. Okay, so that's that. And then we take that around and fit that on the inside of the window. Okay, so now we're just going to put a good, nice, even coat of diluted detergent on the window, so it's nice and wet. We'll just make sure that the film's nice and wet again, like that. And now that can be applied. I'll let our young assistant lay that on the window, and you will see that that film will just nicely adhere, but it doesn't stick completely. And what that allows us to do, because the film is wet, it allows us, if you're slightly out of alignment, it allows us to slide the film left and right, up and down, without it sticking, because it's got that diluted detergent on there. So Steve's now going to use just a standard regular squeegee and just push out most of the water from under that film, and that will take out an awful lot of the air bubbles and the water. So you squeeze it off to the sides, off to the edges, down to the bottom, into the corners, and don't rush at it. And if it starts to go a little bit dry, you can always squirt a little bit more dilute detergent onto that as well, so your squeegee runs nice and smoothly over the top of that. All right, so that gets most of it out, but by no means all of it out. So this is our film as we just applied it, looking at it from the other side. So we've squeegeed it down, but what we want to do now is cut that right into the corner. So we're using just a straight edge and a craft knife just to run a nice straight edge right into the corner to trim that film off. And then that will be done on all sides. And if you need to, just trim it off in little stages. Obviously our guys do this on a regular basis, but you can see now that that film is nicely trimmed in right into that bottom corner, and that's how you're going to achieve that on all sides. So bear with us now while we just trim off the rest of the edges of that window that you just saw, and that will leave us with a nicely trimmed piece of film stuck on the inside. But that's not the end of it yet. We're going to do one last squeeze, if you like, to get the remainder of the air bubbles and the water out from under the film, and then that will leave it nice and flat and give a lovely smooth mirrored finish. So the edges are all trimmed in, and we're going to do one last squeeze out now. We use a flat squeezing tool just like this. It's just a nylon edge. You could technically use a credit card or something flat and smooth. It wants to have a smooth edge to it, nothing sharp, but we'll show you how we do that now. Let's give that a squirt now. You take your spray and just apply another coat, a light dusting if you like, of diluted detergent water, and using your flat edge, you're going to just force the trapped air and the trapped water that was under that film. You're going to force that out off to the sides, and because you've used your utility knife and cut in around the edge, there's a teeny tiny air gap, if you like, or a tiny, very small gap right all the way around the edge of the film. And as we squeeze that water out, that's where it's going to come out. It's going to come out of those sides. So we'll let our young model finish squeezing that out, and then we'll show you what we do to just take out the last little bit of residue that's going to be left behind that. So we've squeezed out the residual water and the air that was still left underneath the film, and we're now just going to use a flat edge. We just use like a paint guard. We wrap a tissue around that. You could use a credit card or anything flat, nice and flat, and we just smooth out the residual water. And because it's got tissue wrapped around it, when the water is squeezed up to the edge, the tissue absorbs that last little bit of water and takes it away from the film, because you can get a capillary action where the water will stay under the film and it will get sucked back in. So the tissue helps to suck the water out, draw the water out right from those edge pieces, and you end up with a really nice finish. You can see already, you can tell by the fact that it's a mirror film, and you can see the reflection from our workshop in the background, so sorry about that. But the whole point of this was to explain the process of applying the film. In case you didn't know, we're not just a window film company. We do manufacture doors and a lot of drive-through windows for the big fast food restaurants. So if you need anything like that and you need help with that, do ask about that as well. But then it's just a question of wiping around the edges with a paper towel or a soft tissue. Don't use a very coarse or brittle tissue paper, something soft. The typical blue roll or even a toilet tissue is absolutely fine. But that takes away any last bits of residue and grit that might have collected, you might have squeezed out from under the film. So now we can see that you've got, this is what it looks like from the inside looking out. And we'll show you the differences in a minute between what you see from the inside and outside. Okay, so this is what the solar reflective film, often referred to as privacy film, but this is the solar reflective film. It's exactly the same film that we had on our little dummy door in our workshop. This is what it looks like on a regular window. The lights inside the room are currently off, but I'm sure if we can get one of our excruciatingly beautiful young assistants to put the lights on, you may just see that the lights just reveal a little bit more on the inside. There we are, lights are on there now. They're very bright lights in there, but that's the kind of level of privacy you get. But the real benefit is the solar reflection. This is what was referred to as solar 20. So it reflects, getting on for 80%. It's actually more like 75% of the solar effects of the heat blasting into this room back out away from the building. It's amazing. So if you've got a particularly hot south facing room or a conservatory or large glass area, then this is exactly the right stuff you want to have on that glazing, because it will save you an awful lot of cooking inside. So there we are, that's solar film. Easy to apply yourself, or we can professionally apply it for you. Especially useful if you've got a large area to do. Just call us on the number you can see on the screen, or drop us an email and we'll get some information and a quote across to you. Thanks very much.